This is the Literary License Podcast with your hosts, Vickie Rae, John Wilson, and Keith Chawgo. Discussing book to screen and everything in between. Coming at you from the UK and USA.
They keep it real.
Hello, welcome to Literary License Podcast, and today we're going to be discussing our April 2019 choices on Shudder, which is available at www.shudder.com. And before we get started, let's see who's with us today. There's my one and trusty companion, Vickie Rae. Say hello, Vickie.
Hello.
And of course, myself. So, before we get started, let's see what we've been up to since last time we've spoken. So, Vickie, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been catching up on Dark Shadows, and in my insomniatic moments, I've been watching really shitty movies that have 4 stars, like The Snarling. I watched that last night. I believe it was on Amazon Prime, and it was kind of like a spoofy thing of American Werewolf in London and kind of like a zombie apocalypse kind of weird stuff, but a production company. I can't explain it, but I was going to fall asleep again, and I said, no, I'm going to finish it. So I turned it back on and just could not stop. It was a train wreck. But other than that, I just doing the same stuff I've been doing, taking care of the kid and doing racing. Got a belt race series this weekend that keeps me really busy and just catching up on all the stuff for you good people.
And myself, I started watching this series that's based on this fantastic movie. If you're into vampires and you like piss takes, there's this New Zealand or I think it's either New Zealand or Australian TV, Australian or New Zealand film. There we go. I'll spit it out one of these days. It's called We Live in the Shadows, and it's about a group of vampires who house share together, and they all hate each other, and it's quite funny. So now they made
What is it called again?
We Live in the Shadows. It's fantastic. It is available on Amazon Prime, part of the Amazon Prime package. It used to be on Netflix for the longest time. It might still be on Netflix in some territories, depending on where you're listening to this podcast from. But hunt this out. But they now made a TV series, and I've seen like 4 episodes of it, and it's hilariously funny. For instance, you got this old 1600 vampire living in this house with these like Victorian Gothic vampires. But they also have this guy who's like from the 20th century, and he is a psychic vampire. And what he does is he sucks out the energy by being really boring to people.
Right.
And then
sounds like my ex.
and then there's this emotional vampire who's, you know, those people who like go around and like everything's a sob story, and yes, they just suck your energy. She's an emotional vampire. So, but it's really really funny, and it's kind of like really off kiltered. even though it's an American series, it is put on by FX, so you might be able to find it on the FX channel.
I've not heard of this one, and I usually watch every vampire or whatever I get my hands on. So yeah, I'll definitely watch it.
Oh, it's hilarious! But there's kind of the English flavor of comedy that goes that winds through,
which I like because I love English humor, British humor, Monty Python, anything like that.
But I highly recommend it. I mean, I watched it. I thought, oh my God, they made a series. I started watching it, and I watched all 4 of them, and I was cacking myself laughing. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning where Debs, who's staying with us at the moment, she goes back on Thursday, had to come down. She goes, "What the hell are you laughing at?" So I was laughing loudly. So I've been watching that. Life in Pieces has come back, so I started watching that. Game of Thrones is awesome.
Yep, Game of Thrones, definitely.
And I watched this new show on Netflix called Bonded, about this dominatrix and her gay friend, which is quite funny. Each episode's about 15, 20 minutes long, and I kind of dipped into it and finished it all within a couple hours, so that was good. So, but besides that, not a lot. I got a couple friends here from the U.S., Shannon and Chelsea. They are basically stalking the group Suede as they're following them around from town to town. Wetting themselves every time the lead singer sweats on them. So, yeah, they're very excited.
Who's that?
My friend Shannon and her friend Chelsea. Shannon, I've known Shannon for over 30 years. I've known her in Tulsa when I used to live in Tulsa.
Right.
So it's good
Who
seeing
are they
her.
stalking?
The group Suede. They were a group in the 90s. To be honest, I wasn't even aware they were still going until they said they're.
I wasn't aware of it either. That's why I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
Well, everybody's trying to make a comeback. The '80s have made these old rock stars. Some of them still sound pretty good, like Deep Purple and Def Leppard. And I mean, we went to go see Black Sabbath on their farewell tour, but Ozzy keeps getting. I was going to go see Ozzy, but he canceled his tour. I guess the last time. What's the last thing he did? He tripped over something while he was going back to bed after taking a pee.
Well, I'm surprised that guy can even talk. Well, he can barely talk.
He can't talk, but he can sing still.
He's like the perfect anti-drug poster child. Like, this is what drugs does to you.
You know what? If you want to watch something funny where they interject Ozzy, watch The Dirt on Netflix. It's about Motley Crue. It's excellent. The book was better, of course, but The Dirt was a fantastic movie. I watched it twice. I loved it. But I love Motley Crue, so...
Then I watched this disturbing horror film on. I'll let you know next time we get on the podcast, because I can't remember. I'm tripping up over the name, but it kind of freaked me out. But it was really good, so I'll let you know what that is.
If it freaked you out, it had to be good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I watched this last night. Was it Stay Alive? It was about gamers.
Okay.
Did you say you have to watch it? It was actually I watched it till 3 a.m. I didn't think I was going to finish it, but it's about these gamers. But I'm going to give it away, and Elizabeth Bathory's involved somehow, and she comes back and she wants blood. You know, Elizabeth Bathory stories, but it's a really good movie. If you're a gamer, you're probably really going to enjoy it and relate.
I'll check that out, because I mean, if you're going to go,
you'll like it.
She had to bathe in virgins' bloods, and what way, what better way to look for virgins is gamers.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's a lot of, it's a slasher flick, but I mean, the thing of it was like the gaming character interjected itself into our reality, and it was some fucked up shit. So, I mean, I'm not a gamer, but I watched it. I couldn't stop watching it. It was excellent. It was a really good movie.
And let's see, anything else? No, that's about it, really. But I will come back next week when we do our next podcast, which will be on the Tom Tyron novel, The Other, and based on the Robert Mulligan film of the same name.
Right.
So I guess before we go off into a tangent, it has nothing to do with our podcast.
Like we always do.
What we're going to do is we're going to start talking about our April 2019 choices for Shudder. So, Vickie, what's your first choice?
Well, it's an all-time classic as far as I'm concerned. It has one of my favorite monsters. It was Cloverfield. Mm-hmm. It's a 2008 American, they call it a found footage monster film. It was directed by Matt Reeves and written by Drew Goddard. And the stars are Michael Stahl, and I can't pronounce that name, David Odette Yestman, T.J. Miller, Jessica Lucas, Lizzie Kaplan, and Mike Vogel. It follows it's a plot about 6 actually I call them kids, but they're young New York City residents that are fleeing from this massive monster and all these little various creatures that are like parasites on the big monster that attack the city while they're doing some kind of farewell party. And the reason I liked it was because it was kind of, it was like filmed sort of like, what's that movie, Blair Witch kind of sort of, but with actually cool footage, you know, and you wanted to see what this monster looked like. And I mean, Godzilla was kind of scary, but this monster was really well done. I just love Cloverfield. It's the only real Cloverfield out of the series I really love. And it's just, it's like you're sitting there going, oh my God, you know, he's going to get that guy with the camera. He's laying there like a dumbass, still filming this 400-foot monster coming near him. And of course he's going to die. But I mean, it's just one of the best monster movies I've seen. I just absolutely love Cloverfield.
I do like that film. I did like 10 Cloverfield Lane. I like Cloverfield better.
I haven't seen that one yet. Oh, yes, I did. Was that with John Goodman?
Yeah, John Goodman.
That one was really claustrophobic. We should have included that one in our claustrophobic month.
Yeah, that would have fitted quite well with this month's theme. Yeah, that was really good. But I think, the ending didn't feel like it actually fit in, but I can understand the ending for it because it ties in this film with that film. So, but I have to say, Cloverfield Paradox that was on Netflix in 2018.
Right.
What a fucking! I'll never get my hour and a half back. I'm sorry. I
was told that, and I didn't even bother.
No, sorry. That was a waste of time. I'm sorry.
But this Cloverfield, like the cinematography was really, really good for a low budget film. I thought so, and I thought the monster was totally believable. That's why I loved it so much. And
considering it's 2008, even the CGI was very well done for it.
Right. I mean,
enjoyed this film.
I mean, it was just great. I mean, they did a good job of it. And the characters, where you actually liked them, you kind of felt sorry for them. And you knew they were fucked like through the whole movie, basically. And, you know, those last two people thought they were going to get away. And, you know, it just shit happens.
The only niggling problem with it is that if your life's in danger, I'm not sure I would keep holding on to the camera.
I would have been running. I don't understand.
Of course, if they dropped the camera, you wouldn't have a movie, so you couldn't need both.
That's right, but they did drop the camera, and then you saw that, you know,
and someone runs back and picks it up.
But then you had this thing. They were like little monsters that were like fleas or whatever that lived on the monster, and they were just even worse than the monster because they were just nasty little fuckers. So I mean, I don't know. Every time it's on, I see it's on. It was at Netflix or Amazon. I'll probably watch it again just because I enjoy it that much. It's just one of those weird movies I like. So
Amazon. Oops, wrong Amazon. Although we both contain an array of diversity, the rainforest with all of its animals and us with all of our products, come check us over today and find all the products you need quickly and efficiently. And buy it with one click. And now you can even use us to donate to your favorite charities using Amazon Smile. Amazon Smile is worth your while. Come check us out today.
My name is Robert Hawkins. Approximately 7 hours ago, something attacked the city. You found this. If you're watching this, then you know more about it than I do. Hello? Beth, where are you?
Okay, we cannot go into the middle of the city. We gotta get out of here.
There's nothing you can do for now.
Do you know what that thing is?
Whatever it is, it's winning. Do you have any idea what's out there?
I don't care what's out there. Listen to me. She's dying.
Turn that camera.
Robbie, I saw it. Robbie, it's a lot.
What was that?
Run! Still filming? Yeah. People are gonna want to know, how it all went down.
What about you?
My first choice is Castle Freak. It's a 1995 American horror film that was directed by Stuart Gordon. Stuart Gordon, you probably know from films like Reanimator and that ilk. And basically, it's loosely based on the short story by H.P. Lovecraft called The Outsider. It was direct to video on the 14th of November 1995, and the film contains elements of splatter and slasher films. But it does star like one of my favorite all-time horror actors. There's Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
And Barbara Crampton's in it as well. And basically it's about this John Riley inherits his 12th century castle in Italy, and he moves there with his wife and daughter after killing their 5-year-old son in a driving accident, which cost the sight of his daughter. And there's this monster thing with a penis running around.
How did I not watch this before?
But there's something about it that I do like, and this is you can watch it on either Shudder as a film on its own, but it's also part of the Billy Bob Briggs's drive-in theater show that's on Shudder as well. So
a lot of people need to watch because it's great.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Barbara Crampton's on this episode with him talking about this film, and
I haven't seen this one.
She's aged fantastically well. She is a horror goddess of all times. But it was put out by Full Moon Enterprises, and for low, for the low budget that it has, it really delivers, and it's a really good. It's a bit kitschy, but it's a bit fun, and yeah. So it's Castle Freak, 1994 American horror film, or Castle Freak.
Castle Freak.
So.
Okay, Bradley, tell the class about your holidays.
Yeah, it was really good. My dad built us a new kitchen. It's got wooden bench tops and some stupid self-closing drawers. There was a dishwasher that was a real and even a breakfast bar. Mum thought Dad was a massive...
Get a kitchen installed without teaching your kids new words. Visit ikea.com.au. We can plan, deliver and install the whole thing for you.
Stuart Gordon, the director of Fortress, The Pit and the Pendulum, and Reanimator, takes you into the dungeons of Castle Dorsino. Now an American family.
Welcome to Castle Riley, lady.
Will inherit a legacy of evil.
They say the castle is haunted.
And a master of modern horror. Will unleash his most terrifying creation. Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak.
There's somebody else here! There's somebody in the castle!
We want you to search the castle. Giorgio Dorsino. He was never buried. She kept him alive. He's here somewhere in the castle. There was a madman in there, but my family is in danger.
Reanimators Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton in Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak.
What about your second choice?
Well, this one's just like one of those movies you either gotta love to hate it or hate to love it. Hansel and Gretel get baked. I just could not stop it. It was like a train wreck. And it was also known as Black Forest, Hansel and Gretel and the 420 Witch. It's a horror comedy film from Mark Morgan, who also was the producer of the Twilight Saga. Mm-hmm. And this is directed by Dwayne Journey. It's got Michael Welch, Molly Quinn, and Laura Flynn Boyle as the actors. And it was released in theaters and on VOD on February of 2013. And this movie, I don't even know how to explain this movie. You just got to watch it. It's about a witch. Okay, we know the Hansel and Gretel story.
Yeah.
But the witch, well, she's not going to put them in the oven. It's really graphic and gory, which is why I like it. But the witch is really evil, and it entices people with her pot because she's a drug dealer. And, you know, she just, they bake cookies and they buy them off this old lady. And these kids, you know, as kids will do, they want to find the best pot they can. You know, and Agnes is a witch, and she drugs and awakens people on her table, and she's gutting them, and like, you know, it's sort of like William Wallace getting gutted on Braveheart. She's pulling out parts and whatnot. I don't know what's so intriguing about the movie, but I mean, it's so bad, it's that good. And it's just one of those movies you have to watch. The plot, there really is no plot because I can't really explain it. You have to watch it and figure it out for yourself. But if you got like an hour and a half to 90 minutes of your life to waste, and you have nothing better to do, and you like watching, you know, pot selling witches that are trying to put people in ovens and eat them, this is the one you need to watch.
Well, I haven't seen this one. I haven't heard of it, but I am going to seek this one out.
You have to watch it. It's a train wreck. It's a total train wreck. But I mean, I watched it, and you know, I just couldn't stop watching it because first she appears as a little old lady, and then she's this gorgeous, beautiful witch. But she entices all these people like the Pied Piper because she's selling pot throughout the neighborhood. Everybody wants to go to her house and buy pot. And she traps people that way, and then she just cuts them up on a table. It's just a weird fucking movie.
It's one way to sell the munchies.
Well, my next pick was better. So,
Hello.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I have a bunch of favorite movies. I watch them all on Shudder.com for only $4.99 a month.
That's a scary low price.
But if I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be Scream.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the only streaming service that lets me watch hundreds of horror movies on demand.
I'll be right back.
Hello? Hello? Hello, are you gonna subscribe? Hello?
Go to Shudder.com to subscribe. If you dare.
Hansel, we're off to spend the weekend with the Stiltskins. Keep an eye on your sister.
Oh.
It's awesome, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome.
What are you smoking?
Oh, it's called Black Forest.
What, like the cake? Cake.
Cake?
Stoners.
Where'd you get it? Some little old lady in Pasadena is growing it in her basement. How did you get into the growing business?
I love to get high. Don't touch my gingerbread house. I got the munchies.
I'm looking for Ashton. He's not home. He hasn't answered any of my calls or texts.
You wanted Agnes's address.
This is better.
Can you take me to Pasadena?
What's in Pasadena?
A little old lady.
How do you get these plants to grow so big?
Magic.
We are so screwed.
Not a good idea.
She's got to be some kind of witch.
Wait till the cops see this.
They just gave me all my use back.
Well, my next pick is Society. It's a 1989 American body horror film directed by Brian Yanza and starring Billy Warlock, Devin Vasquez, Evan Richards, and Ben Meyerson. Brian Yanza he did the special effects and the cinematography for Reanimator series. And this is his first directorial debut. The plot follows a Beverly Hills teenager who finds his wealthy parents are part of a gruesome cult of social elite. And basically how the rich suck off the poor, literally. So
okay.
It's a really interesting film. The film was completed in 1989, but wasn't released in 1992 because it did have some problems with the censors. But the special effects are done by Screaming Mad George, and they're fantastic. It is there's body parts all like sliming into each other and becoming one body, and it's
God, it's like the blob of zombies.
Oh no, but these are like body parts and everything, and they got some bit of incest in there going on, and it's
kind of like Game of Thrones.
Okay, well this one kind of takes incest to a whole new level, but it
sounds like the Tommy Knockers.
Yeah. But the quite interesting thing about it is that it's the tagline, which that the rich suck off the poor, and it kind of runs with this, but it does work like a mystery. So is this boy going mad, or is there something really going on?
Right.
Because he finds out that he's adopted, and and it's his 18th birthday, and there's a reason why they adopted him. So
why is it 16 and 18? Those are always like the Hallmark birthdays for whatever satanic purposes.
But it does have Billy Warlock, probably best known for Baywatch. So,
Lord.
Well, he's a nice looking kid in that, but
yeah,
he's quite easy on the eyes. They did want him to do a Society 2 called Body Modification that was in development, but never really got made. But Society is really good. Now, that's also part of the Billy Bob Briggs's drive-in show on Shudder, but you can also watch it on its own as well. But I suggest watching Billy Bob because you get a lot of interesting backstories and stuff like this on the making of it. So.
Definitely.
Amazon is here to make your life easier. By just the tap of a button, you can turn the camera on your phone to your own personal shopping list. Introducing Flow. Just tap the camera icon onto the search bar, and you can find whatever it is you're looking for, right on Amazon. Faster than scanning a barcode and typing the name of your item into the search engine. Besides, searching with words is so 2012. Save time and money. Amazon, where shopping meets effortless.
For Bill Whitney,
I've never been paranoid.
fear plays a large part in family life.
I feel like something's gonna happen. And if I scratch the surface, there'll be something terrible underneath.
He's afraid his sister
Could you zip me up, Billy?
is not what she seems.
God, Bill, what's the matter with you?
He thinks his friends are out to get him.
Make waves, Whitney. You're gonna drown.
People are what they are. Now you have to learn to accept that.
He's about to find out the truth.
Why are you guys doing this to me, huh?
What, you've been living with these people all your life and you didn't know anything about this?
Is far worse than he could ever imagine.
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen.
Didn't you know, Billy boy? The rich have always sucked off low-class scum like you.
Uh-oh, Billy. Clarissa? Don't be so intense. Now, some people make the rules, and some people follow the rules. It's a question of what you're born to.
You never were one of us.
You know, you really deserve what's going to happen to you. I don't think so. Wait. Can't you see they're setting you up for something? You know how I hate to give you drugs. You're officially dead.
Don't go home, Billy.
No.
Bill Whitney is about to become one.
Showtime, Billy!
With society.
Who are you? Let me give you a hand, Bill.
In Beverly Hills, what you fear is only the beginning.
Anything for society.
And what's your third one?
My third one was a series. It was from the All Souls trilogy. It's called The Discovery of Witches, and I believe it's on AMC now as well. It's a 2011 historical fantasy novel, and it was written by American scholar Deborah Harkness. It follows the story of Diana Bishop. She's a history of science professor at Yale University, and after accidentally finding an elusive, long-thought manuscript, is compelled to embrace the magic in her blood that she has sought to keep out of her life and engage in the forbidden romance with the charming vampire Matthew Claremont. You know, I saw this, and I was looking at it for like a month. It's like, okay, do I want to devote 8 episodes of the first season?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was really well done. I've not read the book. I really was upset when it got to, the 8th one. It's like, okay, the 8th installment, and now I can't watch anymore. And it's all about that forbidden love, sort of like Twilight, but it's better because this girl smiles and has emotion. But she's a witch, and, she's coming into her own, and this vampire falls in love with her. And, it's the typical boy meets girl, boy and girl tried to fight, horrible circumstances. I mean, the book received a lot of positive feedback from a lot of literary critics. I'm probably going to try to read it. It was compared with other fantasy novels like Twilight and Harry Potter. And the novel was a thought experiment for Harkness. She previously only published works of historical nonfiction and drew her academic background as a historian in her studies of alchemy, magic, and the occult. And you could tell that this woman is an historian even just through the movie, because it has a lot of information and depth to people who are interested in witchcraft and alchemy and any occult. It's kind of like up your alley. And I won't give it away because you're going to be pissed by the time you get to the 8th part of it. But I'm really looking forward to the second installment of it. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I watched the whole thing in a day and a half. So
okay.
I normally don't do that, but it's really worth it.
Well, I actually saw this. This actually, before it went to Shudder, it was on Sky One here in the UK, and it premiered in September. And I did. I kind of waited till it was all out there, and then I watched it. And I actually really liked it because I have to sit there and say it has an amazing acting class. And we're talking about all these actors who won tons of awards, so they didn't go cheap on the acting side of it.
No, they didn't.
Lindsay Duncan's in it. She's bloody fantastic. I've seen her on stage in multiple productions here. Matthew Good's in it as the vampire. We're going to be covering one of his movies next season in Stoker. He's in that.
Right.
But he's a really good actor as well. But yeah, I have to say it has a really amazing cast as well, which
they keep you interested. Kind of it does keep you interested. Like I always talk about, you like the characters. You want to see what happens to the characters. If you don't like the characters, then it's just a done deal. You don't want to watch it. But, these people actually make you care about the characters. And I think that's it's important for, series, especially of this caliber. But, I mean, the book looks like it's amazing. I'm probably going to have to download it on Kindle and read it because...
Well, that's what I plan on doing as well. I started watching series like, ooh, I really want to read that book. So it's like...
Right. But, I mean, it's got such great reviews. I mean, no one has said one bad thing about it. Except maybe the Catholic Church.
If the Catholic Church doesn't like it, we love it.
That's right. What about you?
Morning face. You get it when you don't sleep well. This is what happened to Linda.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. Ah, what is that thing?
It's me, Linda.
Oh my God, it talks! Run!
No, it's me, Linda from HR.
It looks hungry! Save the children! Save them!
What?
Stay back, I've got mace!
Ow, that went in my eyes.
Quit moving!
It's called beauty sleep for a reason. And there's never been a better time to get some.
Get 20% off IKEA Sultan mattresses. IKEA, love your home.
Once the world was full of wonders. But it belongs to humans now. We have all but disappeared. Demons, vampires, and witches hiding in plain sight.
Professor Claremont, you're a vampire.
You're a witch. Did it what's happening to us, we have to understand our beginnings. The book. I've been looking for it for over a century.
If we witches have the book of spells, it could change everything.
You need to be careful.
Is that a threat?
No. It's a warning.
It's not about the book, is it? It's about her.
The Covenant forbids interspecies relationships.
Are you seriously considering endangering our family? For which, if you do, it'll be war.
I don't get to choose who I love.
If we were allowed to come together, there'd be fewer problems.
Can't you see the danger you're in?
She is astonishingly powerful.
I'm not in control of it.
If he breaks the rules, he pays the price.
Give her to them.
We are bound together.
My last film is a 2012 American supernatural horror film, which was written, produced, and directed by Rob Zombie. It's called Lords of Salem.
Yes, I love Lords of Salem.
Now, it's one of these films that for me,
you have to watch.
Well, when I first saw it, I didn't like it, but I watched it again.
I didn't like it the first time either. I had to watch it the second time to really get into it.
And I enjoyed it, but it has an amazing cast. It's got, Sherry Moon Zombie in it, of course.
Of course.
But it has Bruce Davison, Judy Geeson, Patricia Quinn from Rocky Horror, Dee Wallace, Maria Conchita Alonso, Andrew Prine, and Meg Foster. Meg Foster was really big in the 80s. He tends to be using her a lot lately. I guess he replaced Karen Black with her. And Ken Forey's in it, if you're a fan of Dawn of the Dead. And it does have an amazing cast, but it does deal with the plot focuses on a troubled female disc jockey in Salem, Massachusetts, whose life becomes entangled with a coven of ancient Satan-worshipping women.
Because she plays that album. I actually, after a while, kind of got grooving to that song. It's like, I need the mix for that.
I think I have it on my Spotify playlist.
You probably do.
I think I did. I think, I like the soundtrack of this movie. And, I got the only weak link in it's probably Sherry Moon Zombie, but she does an adequate job.
She does. She's not totally horrible.
No.
She didn't really have to do much except wear short shorts and her long
I think
dreadlocks. She's a pretty girl.
I think the film probably would have got more notice if they had like a caliber actress in the main part. But
just a little bit.
But saying that, she does do a good job, and she
wasn't totally horrible. She's
easy on the eyes, and she's very pretty.
Very easy on the eye.
And she does a good job. I think the problem, the only problem I had is I think that when you put her against all these iconic actors and actresses,
screen queens,
and and it's it's kind of, and you find you should be more interested in her, but I found myself more interested in the witches.
Well, the witches were total twat weasels, but you had to love them.
Yeah.
They were just wretched women. Oh, God.
And when you find out who they are, you're like, oh, my God, I can't believe that's such and such. I can't believe that's such and such. So,
well, Dee Wallace was fantastic.
She's
I love
always
her.
Fantastic. She's one of those actresses that, of course she did E.T.,
Exactly.
And, became the perfect mom. But, she's always gone back to her horror roots. She's,
like The Howling and all that.
Oh, yeah. And she's, The Hills Have Eyes. And
exactly.
And she keeps returning there because she knows where she's loved.
That's where she needs to be because she's excellent at it. She's just she's a genre queen when it comes to horror. She just is.
Oh,
when you see Dee Wallace, even if I don't think I'm going to like the movie, it says Dee Wallace, I will automatically watch it just because it says Dee Wallace.
Well, I mean, if you want to see a good film with Dee Wallace, Wallace in it. Watch The Frighteners. It's a Peter Jackson film, the Lord of the Rings director. He
Right.
made this horror film with Michael J. Fox and Trini Alvarado and Dee Wallace. And Dee Wallace is in this film. And
I have not seen that one.
The Frighteners. It's really good. It's one of my favorites.
Hi. Are you the new tenant? I just saw the tenant like 10 minutes ago standing in the doorway.
Oh, I hate to break it to you, but there is no person in number 5.
You have to understand that there is a war waging in heaven.
On a rare occasion, a special child appears.
Is everything all right?
No.
The curse, the lords of Salem, possessing the souls of the Salem women, which the devil's child would inherit the earth.
Satan, come to us!
God does not spare angels when they sin.
Welcome.
Well, yeah, Lords of Salem, I highly recommend. That's on Shudder, of course, for April and through May, and I believe it's on for the next 3 or 4 months. There's also, if you are a Rob Zombie fan, The Devil's Rejects is now on there, and The House of a Thousand Corpses is on there.
And The Green Inferno is on Amazon Prime, which I watched twice this week. I'm still disappointed that there wasn't more cannibalism, but I'll get over it.
Yeah, well, I think once you get in the Hollywood system, you kind of have to cut back a little bit. So it's probably
No, you can't cut back. There has to be that movie was not claustrophobic, but it was just so disgustingly gross, and you just really wanted this girl to get away in the end. I mean, there's nothing worse than going on an ecological adventure to save the rainforest and the inhabitants start eating you. Mm-hmm. So it's like, come on, that'd be something that would happen to me. So.
Well, I thought that's what made the film work for me. It's like, oh my God, look at all these Greenpeace hippie people. Oh, this is fantastic. Let's go over there and help these people. And then get like,
let's see all these Earth First motherfuckers die.
Yeah. Every time I see a tree hugger, I was like, oh, I hope you get to the Cannibal Village.
We're gonna hate the email now. Thanks, Keith.
But
Keith Chawgo at LLpodcast.com.
Keith.Chawgo at LLpodcast.com. Please send all your hate mail to me. I love it. Interesting on point though. I do suggest that if you do have Shudder, that you do watch the Rob Zombie films, House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects,
yes,
because the third installment is coming out this summer from Rob Zombie for that trilogy. I don't know if it's gonna be a trilogy. Oh, who knows?
I think they're trying to. It's looking
well.
Like...
If the third movie makes a lot of money, it might end up become a quadrilogy. Who knows? So, but at the moment, it will.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, you either like it or you don't. But I just love Rob Zombie. So,
yeah, I like Rob Zombie. I don't mind him. I do think that I liked his Halloween. I thought that was interesting. I think his Halloween.
It was interesting.
Halloween 2 was a bit boring, unfortunately. I thought
so too.
He just needed to cut out the dream sequences.
I know. And it was like beating a dead horse a little bit. I mean.
Well, it's like you killed your wife off in the first one. Keep her dead. Don't bring her back. There's no reason why she needs to be in a dream sequence on a white horse. It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Well, 31, well, it's kind of like we've seen it before, so there was nothing new there. But
Right.
what I do like about the Rob Zombie horror films is that he does have a habit of bringing back the old 70s and 80s classic.
Which I do like, yeah. I mean, that you just can't beat that back then. I know a lot of younger people now probably would not like or appreciate it, but I really highly suggest it to our younger listeners because some of the stuff is just cool shit. It just is.
Well, even when Karen Black shows up in House of a Thousand Corpses, like, oh my God, it's Karen Black. And you can't mistake Karen Black because of the black eyeliner. Which, in July, we'll be covering 2 Karen Black films called Burnt Offerings and Trilogy of Terror, part of our Dan
I know, I love Trilogy of Terror. You know, that movie used to give me nightmares. Every time I think of Trilogy of Terror, I think that little thing, and he's running, and he's going... just running through the house. That just fucked me up when I was 12 years old.
Wow. I used to wait till my sisters were asleep, and I'd be on their bed going... the shit out of
or
them.
Kelly Ritter.
Yeah, I'd pop out with my little kitchen knife.
That movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Well, that was remarkable for its time. So,
right,
that was a TV movie. So
I know. Well, but for then it was scary. It was Monster Movie Matinee the first time I seen it. I can't say enough about Monster Movie Matinee because somebody needs to bring that shit back. That and Thriller or Killer. Was it Thriller Theater?
Yeah, Thriller.
No, it's Chiller. I'm sorry.
Chiller Theater.
Chiller with a hand coming up out of the pond scum and going back down. I was just like, God, I miss that stuff.
Well, in Syracuse, we also had, because we had Monster Movie Matinee, which was on the NBC or Channel 3 out of Syracuse. And that was on Saturdays. And I think Channel 5, which was CBS affiliated, decided that they could do this on a Sunday. And they came out with Evil.
Yes.
Which I thought, oh my God, what a scary word, evil. And then you realize it was movie spelled backwards. But, but you saw some freaky shit on there. I think I saw like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things on there.
Oh my God, nobody has seen that movie except me. Oh my God, we have to just do that, revisit that movie because nobody knows about that. You're the first person in 30 years that has mentioned that movie to me. Oh my God.
I have it on DVD.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to rent it now just because I forgot about it. It's really... I was just like it was the motorcycle kids and they were playing with the book and
and they're digging up dead people to party with,
right? Yes, and then they come alive.
But you know who directed that, don't you? It was what was his name? Bob Campbell, maybe? I might have this wrong.
I forget.
Sorry, but the same guy who directed Black Christmas and Porky's.
Oh my God,
he directed Porky's as well.
Oh, there you go. That's definitely that director.
But Black Christmas, I mean, that's a classic. So
yes, it is. But I forgot about Children Should Play with Dead Things. That movie scared the fuck out of me because the zombies were back then. The dead people were realistic, as what I thought. It gave me nightmares. Another reason my mother didn't want me to watch things like that, or Dark Shadows for that matter.
But Eve was on like at 12 noon on a Sunday.
I know.
I remember I was like, watching my mom's going, what are you watching this shit for? Like, yeah. I mean, there's like House of the Seven Corpses. And it's like this, these people going to this house to like film a movie and then they're all dying like the way the people died in the house. That was really some really good stuff on the Evom.
It was. I forgot all about Evom.
More of the 50s, 60s kind of stuff. And Evom was kind of like the early 70s, all that 70s horror film. So, yeah.
I have to say this once before we leave because I watched part of it last night. I couldn't believe I did it, but I couldn't stop laughing. Remember the brain?
Oh, yeah.
The big brain floating around and it was killing people.
I know.
It's on Amazon. And I mean, I just can't help watching it.
What about the creeping eye? That used to scare the hell out of me. The eye with the tentacles coming up the mountainside. That used to freak the hell out of me.
Oh my God, yes, that did scare me. Do you remember a movie called The Creeping Flesh?
Oh yeah. And what about the skull? Where it's like, I think it had like Peter Cushing in it, and I don't know. So I can't remember the whole thing about the story, but I just remember the skull being superimposed, chasing people down the hallways.
Yeah.
But actually. There's this one film that was on Monster Movie Matinee when I was younger, and I didn't know the name of it. And I've been looking for it. I finally found the name of it, and I was actually going to buy it, and I thought maybe not because it's got really bad reviews, but it scared the hell out of me about these people in this house. And this weeping willow tree would like wrap them up and like suck their bloods out. And ever since then, I used to have this fear of weeping willow trees. But then I was like, it's called The Creeping Terror. I guess that's the name of it. And
I gotta watch.
Apparently, it's this Mexican film that's been dubbed in English. And it's like it's like one of these films that you should never see because it's really bad. But it scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Everything was different when we were like 9 or 10 years old, for sure.
Yeah.
But my mother let me watch it, and that's where I don't understand. She let me watch all that crap. But if I turned Dark Shadows on, I was not allowed to watch it. It's like, come on.
Well, my mom let me watch all that crap, and I used to go to my grandmother's house and watch, because I used to spend weekends there, and she would watch the horror movies with me. And then, when I killed all those people, and they let me out of the mental hospital, they didn't understand why that happened. No, I'm kidding.
No, he's not. He does work in a mental hospital. It's not a lie.
Don't work there. I live there. But no, in all seriousness, though. But I came out quite well-rounded considering
Considering. You can put 2 sentences together. That's good.
I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything. I'm glad I grew up in those times.
Me neither.
And saw all those classic things.
I wouldn't change it. Being a child, really a youngster of the 70s, I wouldn't change that for shit.
I think well-rounded us. We have like a history of 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to today. All
Before
different kind of genres and horror films and everything like that.
Before the high-tech shit kicked in.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is because we do have a love for it. It started when we were kids, so.
Exactly.
So,
which works for me every weekend.
For me too. So before we go off, what we like to let you know is next month we'll be covering The Other, the 1972 film directed by Robert Mulligan, and the book directed by, once he was an actor, but then he turned into an author named Tom Tyerson, called The Other. It's an interesting book, and it's going to start our siblings month, which is going to be quite interesting, and you'll see a similar theme once you get into the episodes.
And I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of insults. Kelly Ritter from Watertown, New York.
Yes.
Poor Kelly.
Our siblings are what made us what we are today.
Exactly.
All the good and all the bad. So if you want to follow us on our podcast, you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and that's LL Podcast. Or you can go to our website at www.llpodcast.com and sign up to our newsletter. If you sign up to our newsletter, you get exciting information that's coming up, and we got some fantastic news coming your way in July.
Exactly.
We're not gonna give you too much, but let's sit there and say that Vickie and I are working our asses off because we're going to give you something special that's never been done in podcasting history. And from me, make sure you do watch Shudder. That's www.shudder.com, and enjoy all they have to offer. It's a good price, very good deal, $5.99 a month, and all the horror films that you'll see, some popular ones that you have heard of, and plenty of ones you haven't heard of that you should have heard of. And let's see, anything else? I think that's pretty much it. So
yes,
next month, the others. There's the Shudder, April 2019, and it's saying goodbye from Vickie. Say goodbye, Vickie.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.
And goodbye from me, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.